right, Roscoe. Welcome to number 7, podcast 7, wide open with Chris Burandt. I got my buddy Roscoe here, my wingman. We're getting ready to go down to Chile, aren't we there, big guy?
Yep. We're very excited about it too.
It is June 28th. What's crazy is usually, obviously, we have some time off after we stop guiding and play riding and filming. We have a pretty big gap in between now and Chile, and that is just not the case here in Colorado.
No. I think I saw you riding Snowmobiles.
Did I make you a little jealous?
Yeah. Weird.
Oh my gosh. So for you guys, it's kind of weird because with podcasts, you can listen to them at any time. But so it is actually June 28th right now, 2019. And last weekend, we got absolutely pounded with snow. Pounded. They were calling for 2 to 4 inches, and we got 2 to 3 feet. I went on a Saturday, and there was legitimately 2 feet of new snow, and then it snowed again that night, and guys went up the next day. And I mean, there was 3 feet of snow June 23rd. And, I was thinking about that, and we talk about, crazy storms and all of this stuff. And I truly think, this could have been one of those 50-year storms that, how could you not take advantage of that,
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't happen. Like end of June, big snow, and you see like little, you'll get little snow up top, the very top, but you're telling me there's like still 8 feet of snow at certain snowtels, which is insane.
Yeah, so there was 7 feet on the ground. So there's a snowtail site up there that measures the depth of snow. There was 7 feet on the ground with. What was really cool is when you ride in May or June and you try to extend the season, usually what you're running into is real hard packed, slippery conditions that you're just going out to say you went snowmobiling. But this particular ride with all of that new snow, it was full on legit riding, just like what we would ride in January through April. It was so much dang fun. I went out. So Matt Ents, he's got the disease as much as I do. Him and I were texting, and I was like, dude, it's good. We kept watching the weather cam, and we're texting each other at like midnight. Oh, I think it's gonna be good. And Matt ends up getting up like right after 3 a.m. to get up there because we knew. We wanted to get up there super early so we could have powder to ride. And so I left my house at 5. Matt was right behind me, and we ended up being on the snow right at 8:30 and got to go do POW turns in June. It was pretty sweet.
That's awesome, man. The last time I rode June that's not even close to how it was. It was like an hour and a half drive up the worst road of my life to try to get to snow, period, and then ride like a little patch. That's usually what you get when you ride June. You don't get POW turns and
exactly. That's totally what June is all about. And Matt and I were joking. We've had such an incredible snow year here in Colorado that we were joking to like, well, maybe next month we'll be able to ride spring conditions because we're still doing powder turns in June.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So it'll get increasingly hard to get to the snow. The snow line melts pretty quick this time of year, but man, there is a ton of snow up there, and what a great snow year for Colorado and the West in general. To be honest, a bunch of places in Wyoming and Idaho, and I think even your neck of the woods did pretty dang good. So it's great to see. And even the Midwest, man, we needed a big snow year in the U.S. For snowmobile sales and just the overall morale of the industry, and we got it. So I'm excited for that, and I think that'll help people's position mentally going into next year for hopefully another good winter.
Yeah. Yep. And it just, you just, that's all you can hope for, because we rely so much on Mother Nature. It's like we talk about with our job. You can't, there's, there is no, there's no beating her. She's gonna tell you what you get, and you have to deal with it. So we're very grateful when we get winters like this and storms like you were just talking about. Um, it's just enjoyable. It's easy.
Yep, and to touch on that just one more time, like it was so crazy. So Monarchs ski area is our local ski area. It's about 50 miles south of us, and actually it's not even that far. It's a little bit south of us. They put up a picture of the exact same day from last year to this year, and
Yeah.
the entire ski resort was brown, like dirt last year at the same time that they took the picture this year, where this year there was not one speck of dirt. It looked like it was prime time, middle of the season skiing, snowboarding conditions. It was just what a difference a year can make.
Yeah. Man, it's just so insane how how they change every year, every day. The conditions change, and you just have to adjust if you're gonna enjoy the sport like we enjoy it.
Yeah, that's true. It's funny. Riding is very mental, and even just getting yourself mentally ready for the season, right? I mean, who knows what the snow is going to be? And to be honest, I don't really care. I mean, yeah, I'd love to ride 3 feet of power every day. Actually, I wouldn't. It'd be a lot of work. It'd be a lot of work to ride 3 feet of power. Everyone says that, but yeah, you just deal with it, enjoy it, make the best of it, and have fun. Because in the end, you're still snowmobiling, no matter what the conditions. You're still riding, so have fun with it.
Yeah, and if you go at it like it's a challenge, and there's very few conditions where you're like, okay, this sucks. This is like not fun to ride. It's like I'm gonna die, like, because it's icy, or there's very few conditions where it's like not fun. There's spring snow's fun, 3 feet of pow's fun, everywhere in between's fun, and it's just, if you attack it like it's a challenge and it changes the way you ride, then it's always going to be a good day. There's no bad days on a snowmobile.
Yeah, that's true. I think probably one of my worst days was when the conditions were just icy and not very consistent. And when they're icy and you're still trying to do some of those technical lines in the trees, it can actually just flat out get scary. When we went up to the climb ride up in Alpine, we ran into those conditions a little bit where we were literally riding stuff that would have been very uncomfortable in good snow, and we were riding it on stuff that was so dang slippery. And one of the things that we're able to do when you get into those situations is you're able to get on edge when you're going downhill to help be in control. That was not an option there. If you tried to go on edge, basically it would just panel out, and then you're sliding out of control downhill on one ski, getting ready to get high sided into the tree. Right. That was, that one hill. Did you see when I yard sailed? Did you get to see when I hit the tree?
I don't think so.
No,
was that the first day or second day?
It was the.
Oh no, I was above you.
Yeah, you were above me. You were working on getting somebody unstuck up there, right?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
We had Andy and Brandon, and we had like 5 guys, just carnage fest. Andy Thomas's sled is stacked on top of Matt's in a tree well.
Oh yeah, Matt Ghost Road.
Matt started it all, and I was like, I'm not going any further. This is out of control.
This is what I love about the podcast. We had an agenda of what we were going to talk about, and now I'm talking about this just because this was awesome. Yeah. So, all right, so you're above me so myself, Luke Rainey, Keith Curtis, and Cole. There might have been a couple others. Anyway, we made it up past that line. And so what's funny about riding these conditions? So here's what happens. You have a little bit of like spring slush, soft snow on top of just this wicked, slippery, hard layer. Okay. So the first couple guys, we can use that soft snow to our advantage and be able to have some bite into the side of the hill so we can make it up. And so, when I saw Luke and Keith fire up their sleds, you better believe I'm like, screw you guys behind me. I am out, because I knew I needed to get some snow, So we get up to the top and we're coming back down. We're radioing to you guys, like, what's going on down there? And we're like, and you were saying, well, we're all upside down, yard sale, hung up on this. And what's crazy is this hill, it wasn't like a hill like, okay, let's just turn down and go down. There were only a couple spots where you could sneak through the trees to get down, because it was just so steep and treed that if you started going downhill, what happened to Matt, you should check out Matt's GoPro shot of this, is he literally just could not get going on the side hill, lost his side hill because it was washing out, and had to let go of his snowmobile. It was the only option. Like, I'm letting go of my $25,000 snowmobile, and we don't let go of sleds. So that's pretty crazy. So anyway, back to the story. So you're up there getting those guys unstuck, and so we're trying to get back down to you guys. And I'm like, I got my head raised up, I'm looking down, and I see freaking Rainy like going down on edge, just hauling butt, out of control. And this is with the fresh snow, right? This is with, and I say fresh snow, but some snow to help him kind of be in control.
Yeah.
And here goes Keith bombing right behind him. And I'm just like, dude, I am so screwed. And I was a couple more guys back, and I mean, there was no option. You had to get down, and I did not want to get down, and you couldn't go on edge. And that's, so everything that I know and that we teach and that what I've learned is, if you want to go downhill slow and in control, you got to be on edge. And so the thing that we tell all of our clients is, once you start going on two skis, you're at the mercy of gravity. Well, here I am at 100% at the mercy of gravity. And I roll over that hill, and I'm just like, well, here we go. And the bobsled down, and I missed the one big tree, and it sets me up right into these willows and when I say willows, you think of willows like, oh yeah, you just run over some willows, not a big deal. These willows were literally like, I don't know, had to be one, the one that I smoked was about 6 inches around, and it flung me. So I hit these willows, and then it flings me into this tree. And right at the end, I'm like, okay, I'm going to die. I'm out of here. So I bail from the sled. And when I bail, the sled kind of wraps around the tree and sends me into this helicopter motion. I'm just tomahawking through the air, and I land, and the guys down below, I remember, so Brandon Tittenser was down there, and he's like, I saw that and I thought you died. and
Yeah.
So, and it was crazy. The willows kind of absorbed most of the impact. Right at the end, I counter steered and pushed the sled away. So it didn't even do anything, which somehow most of the time I have a knack for that. And you guys always give me crap for that. It's like, I remember this shot from this last year. I tried to get up above this cliff, and I totally didn't have enough mow, and I spun out on a log or something, and I yard sailed off of this cliff, and I threw my sled, and my sled landed so perfect into these two trees. I mean, you couldn't have done it any better. And Kyle comes up, he's like, I would have been trying to figure out how to helicopter my snowmobile out of here, and you're just coming out with a broken windshield.
Yeah, that is the truest statement ever. I'm like, my snowmobile would have been totaled right there, but it comes out pretty clean usually for you. Don't know how.
I'm going to tell you the key, Roscoe.
Oh, okay.
So, because I've been in these situations many times where I'm like, I can't believe I'm having to hit the eject button right here. But so the biggest thing is, right before you're about to bail, don't just jump off and do the little girl scream. Ah, don't do that. You gotta counter steer, bulldog that thing, and try to get it to just do something rather than go into it straight with a head-on bunch of steam, right?
Right. Yeah, you gotta make some sort of
write
effort.
that one down.
Okay, let me take a note on that one.
Oh,
I'll make sure I
well.
send that little tidbit to Kyle as well, because him and I both hate it.
So I don't know how we got. Oh yeah, we got down this tangent because we were just talking about conditions
Yeah,
and so that's that is that's not my favorite condition. It's funny. We've ridden in Chile multiple times where we're right on that snow line of it being snow and flat out rain. And I
yeah,
remember last year we left the lodge and it wasn't even close to snow. It's just rain. And when we got up to the top, it wasn't snow, it was just rain. And we rode in the rain all day. And it was a day where I was like, man, this could suck. And it was actually one of my best days in Chile I had all year. It was so much dang fun. The snow was ended up being like just super soft because we had been riding a little bit firm conditions the couple days prior. So the snow softened up because of the rain and we just had a blast and the group was a fun group and they embraced it and I'm like, bet you didn't think you would fly 8,000 miles south to go ride in the rain, did you, boys? And
yeah,
we just had a lot of fun with it. And what was the craziest part about that is, so I mean, it's pouring rain like all day, and you get back and I mean my gloves are soaked and all this stuff, but and the outside of your gear, I mean, I weighed probably 10 extra pounds, so the outside of the gear is just soaking wet, and you take your gear off and I'm like, I cannot believe I am dry.
yeah.
I'm dry, and it was just one of those things where and a bunch of the guys had climb stuff down there, and that was definitely a pretty fun topic piece at dinner. Was, can you guys believe that we were just riding in a torrential rain pour and we're fairly dry, and so that was pretty cool. That's again, I mean, Climb's motto, pretty easy, no bad days, and
Yeah.
that was another way to not have bad days, so that was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a similar day down there where the only thing that I felt was wet was like I could feel the water creeping up the cuff of my glove in between, because you're always in. My hands are dry and my body's dry, but there's a little bit creeps up your wrist cuff, because there's no like gasket or anything there, but it's, you don't go ride in the rain typically, but when you're in South America and it's August, like it's what you got, so you go enjoy it and you have a good time. And it's just a testament to what, that's why we go down there and we test gear and do that kind of stuff too, and is because it is a harsh climate and you never know what you're gonna get. So
Yeah, we run definitely into all conditions there. I'll say one thing that wasn't dry, and this happens on our spring days too. And it's such a disgusting feeling. Is the helmet.
yeah,
The helmet, right? So hair, you either from sweat or if it's snowing and you go to put that helmet back on when it's wet. Oh my god, I hate that feeling. So,
yeah,
especially after lunch or something. So that was something that definitely wasn't dry there, but
just gnarly. Ugh, gross feeling.
yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, it's been awesome. Again, podcast number 7 here, and just tons and tons of feedback, lots of comments on the YouTube listing of the podcast, which has been a lot of fun. Been playing with a lot of questions. A couple of my favorites were, what's been your favorite sled you've built over the years? Where's your favorite place to ride? All of these things. It's cool to be able to talk to you guys about it. With regards to the sled question, I thought that was a pretty interesting one, and I mean the cliche or the easy answer is, well, it's my next sled. That's my favorite sled. But there's definitely sleds that stick out. That whether you learn from it and built something better, but at the time it was like, man, this could be better. And I'm sure you've had some sleds like that. So I guess, for me, a couple of my standout snowmobiles that I will never forget. And this is going back even to the Arctic Cat days. So, one sled that kind of started everything for me was the 2005 M7. That was a sled that changed the way I ride. It changed, I think, the way we all ride today. And it created this new riding style that we ride. So that was a really cool sled. And then fast forward, 2008, I got to ride my very first turbo, and 2008, that was talk about an absolute beast of a snowmobile. 2008, I built with Boondockers and Rocky Young a M1000 turbo on like 10 pounds of boost with a little short 150. It was a 150 2.5-inch track. It was it was a crazy wheelie monster with way too much power and way heavy. But that thing did things that to this day, I mean, I would go back and look at the lines I did with that sled and say, there's no way in hell I'm going up that. So that was definitely a crazy sled. And then, just, I guess, kind of getting more into the current stuff. I mean, Jenny Craig sure set the bar for me as far as what a lightweight, what it can actually do on the snow. And so that snowmobile for me created this whole other purpose of when I build a sled. And so that sled has set the bar for me. So Roscoe, you've had to have a couple sleds in your past that stuck out to you. Tell us what's been your baby you've loved.
Well, I never really started like truly building sleds until I started hanging out with you. Imagine that. And I was, as a kid, still am a kid, but I think the coolest, one of my favorites was like the 15 Pro I built was Golden Boy. That was like when we were really doing a lot of crazy stuff with like geometry and all that kind of stuff right before the Axis came out. And then, the Rambo, my 17 Axis build was really cool too. That gave us a year under our belt to really get stuff dialed in. That was the same year we built Monster for You, which was insane. And, I think like I remember watching videos of you on that first turbo you built, and, just like, I was like, this thing is insane. It just like totally changed the way that I kind of looked at mountain riding, I think, because it was more of the stuff that I was interested in. It wasn't just hucking and big air stuff. It was the beginning of like true technical, really gnarly riding on turbos. And so I mean, it's crazy where it's come. That was 2008. So that's right. So we're 12 years down the road from that. And it's pretty insane how quickly things are changing.
It is. And it's crazy. Like you said, that's 12 model years. So we actually got this question too. And this kind of plays right into where we're going down this road is, I mean, what's in 12 years from now?
My gosh.
What is the sled? And I mean, what a crazy job for the manufacturers, right? Is for them to get their little crystal ball out and figure out what we as consumers want as a sled in, well, let's just say 5 years. I mean, manufacturers are already on a 5-year plan. Model year 21 is pretty much already done. They know what 21 is going to be, and we haven't even got our 20s yet, and planning for 22, 23, 24. And so what an incredibly tough job to forecast. And speaking of that, so a couple weeks ago, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a little bit there was a release on social media. Let's see, what was the name of it? Taiga? Man,
It's like
I don't even know how to pronounce the electric snowmobile. Taiga, maybe. So I struggle with. I don't know how they pronounce the name of their snowmobile, but and so I thought it was pretty interesting. They actually, I saw a couple things from them a couple years ago, but it was in really early stages of development. But it sounds like they're actually going into production for next season.
Taiga.
Yeah, how would you say that?
I don't know. Somebody tell us how to say this. We don't know.
Yeah. But what I thought was interesting is with the release, the comments were fairly negative on the machine, and I think maybe it was talking about the weight, a lot of things about the weight and stuff. But and so I'm just going to share with you guys a couple numbers here. So they have on the mountain side, they have a couple versions. They have the standard. So when they talk about range, because it's electric, so they have the standard range or the extended range. The standard range is good for 98 kilometers, which is, holy cow, I don't know that. Oh, that's 60 miles. And then the other range, 140 kilometers, which is 87 miles. And, a lot of people were like, oh, I can't even get to the good zone in 60 miles. And I get that. I mean, there are places that are like that, but man, here in the States and here in Colorado, I've never ridden 60 miles on my snowmobile mountain riding. I mean, we ride 24 to 35 and we are dead tired going home. And so I looked at it. I'm like, well, that wouldn't really be a hang up for me. And then I started looking at some of their performance numbers, which these were pretty impressive. They had their standard kit was 120 horsepower and their performance kit was 180 horsepower.
Yeah.
And so, that 180 and so a couple other cool things about that sled is there's no belt, there's no motor, so there's no you're not changing oil, there's literally essentially almost no maintenance.
Very low maintenance.
But yeah, and so I'm thinking of the shortcomings that we have in our world today. Obviously we're really mean to belts. Very mean to belts.
Yeah.
On a deep powder day, you're heat soaking the motor and you're losing RPM or when it's super deep, the runnability of the sled isn't where it is normally. I mean, you have all of these factors that we deal with and we understand because we're riding in these extreme conditions. But you would think if everything on the electric side was the way it should be, you would never have any of those. No heat soak, no blown belts, none of that. And so I think it's interesting. I like being an optimist and not looking at things negatively. And I think it's not like I'm going to go out and buy one, right? I mean, I'm a Polaris, I'm a Polaris guy through and through, but what it does and what I thought was interesting is anytime somebody comes out with something new and different, that is a win for us. That is a win for the consumer, especially if it works, because that is going to force the manufacturers to look at it and to listen and to see and to say, well, maybe this is a direction that we should look at and could look at and potentially in the future. And so, and then, all of the zero emissions thing, that's real in today's society to have zero emissions. I mean, that's awesome. And we talk about not only motor emissions, so exhaust emissions, but also sound and people aren't all that happy that we're ripping around on snowmobiles and snow bikes and being loud and noisy in the forest, which they have the right to be there, but we do also. It's getting less and less places
Yeah.
because they're getting shut down. But maybe this could be a solution for some of that, and a compromise. So I thought it was really interesting. I thought I kind of was chuckling to myself. I'm like, man, everyone is hating on this thing when, in the end, I think there's a lot of good ideas and concepts here.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I'm very curious to see what transpires from this. Just, whether I hope the best for this company, whether they make it or how successful it is. It's certainly a step in an awesome direction. And the tough part, I think, is going to be, and what we talk about the most, is the handling, ergonomics, and actually how the sled handles.
Yeah.
In reality, the performance, the motor, all of that stuff isn't as important as how the sled actually is going to handle. So that's, I'm not sure how that will play out, and that's probably going to be the interesting part. But, to see the weight is quote unquote heavy, but that's ready to ride. When we talk sled weight, we're usually
Right.
talking dry. So this sled is always going to weigh the same amount. But if you loaded a sled down full of fuel and oil, you're going to be up there too, weight wise. So it's really cool.
That number actually, Ross. So their extended version. So the one with the more miles you can get out of, so essentially more battery, is 586 pounds. A Axis 800 163 full of gas oil spare belt was 580.
Boom. So that's pretty dang impressive. That's really impressive.
It's
actually
the same.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so again, you gotta look at these things with an open mind. But your point, I 100% agree on, is and let's just use the 08 M1000 turbo for an example. That had more power than I knew what to do with it. But I would rather ride a stock sled now than ride a big old tank of a turbo, just because it has power, because of the handling characteristics and just how easy it is to ride. And so, that will be interesting to see where they go. And I always like seeing what's next and potentially getting the product better. And I think that's what's really cool on the Polaris side of things is, over the years, they have acquired some really cool companies in vastly different markets, and one of them is electric. They own an electric company that produces electric vehicles, I think, over in Europe, and they might actually have them over here now too. But that technology is something that it could be potentially used in our world. And I think it's cool. Anytime something new and different, whether it works or it doesn't work, it sure is neat that someone, and what's so awesome, not necessarily the snowmobile in this, is that someone thought it would be a good idea to invest in our industry, and our industry is not growing. And that's scary for all of us. It should be.
Yeah.
Sales are down every year because of whatever, right? The sport's expensive. It doesn't snow. Whatever the excuse is, our sport is trending the wrong way. But for a company to see a value to design and develop a product, that's awesome. That's good. That may even get more people back into the sport. So those are all things that's how I look at it.
Yeah. And bridging that gap of, if you had a silent electric snowmobile here in Central Oregon, there's tons of guys that seem like they're getting into, there's more skiers getting into backcountry access because they want to get away from crowds. So they're using sleds to get as far back as they possibly can before they have to start hiking. So, they're going to be totally apt to a more, eco-friendly, quote unquote, or silent machine to help them get back there, where, this is in my neck of the woods, it's driven a lot more by human powered. So mountain bike, skiing, snowboarding, hiking, they have a lot of power and they have the numbers, and, I love to do all that stuff too. So anything that's going to help our relationship, the power sport people's relationship with them, is going to be a win for us, because that's kind of what we have to battle a little bit going into the future.
Yeah. So I think it's cool. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. And, I guess, coming back to our reality in our world, it's crazy. 2020 sleds are being built. I know they're building short track stuff now, and we're scheduled to potentially have mountain sleds earlier this season, which I'm excited about, and that already gets the wheels turning for the mod sleds and what we're gonna build this year. I'm pretty excited. I'll be doing a Boondocker Turbo again, of course. And then I'm actually going to be running, I believe I'm going to be running a Carl's 900. I'm going to really had a lot of fun on my lightweight 850 last year. And the lightweight stuff is so much dang fun. Yeah. Ross, it's spilled over a little on you. I know it, and you hate me for it every step of the way.
Yeah, I'm not making it. Got to ask you for a raise so I can build a cool sled.
Well, and it's what's funny is your two sleds last year. You actually did a lot of stuff on them. They were probably two of your lighter sleds that you've ever built. But that extra step, right? Let's talk about, I guess, the skid. That was one of the big differences. What else? There was only a couple little things, right? I had my Ty Pittman arm and steering post and bars, and overall probably, what do you think, 15 pounds with the skid and that stuff, 15 to 20 pounds difference. And what was it like when you got on my sled for the first time?
Well, it just goes forward at an alarming rate. It just does things. It does everything just a little bit better. And when we play a game of getting above one tree, is the difference of you making it to the top, is like, that's all it takes, is that sled is going to get above that tree. Whereas my sled, I'm either going to get greedy and get stuck, or I have to go below, and it makes my line different or harder, or, so many different things. And it's fatigue as well. The lighter sled allows you to ride longer and with less effort. So why wouldn't you want that? That's so we can ride until dark instead of being tired at 2.
That's right.
You got to go home. So it's what we battle. It's we talk about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's funny how you think of it and describe it. And I didn't really think of it like that, but it truly is it's on these lines that we're choosing and picking on, and these situations that we're putting ourselves in. It literally is. If you can get above that tree, it sets you up on the shelf. And when you get up on the shelf, then you carry momentum to the next line. And if you can't, then you can't make the line. And so, I think there's a lot of people who just wonder, why do you have to do the titanium whatever, or the carbon this or whatever? And it's like because all of those things truly do make a difference. I don't do it just because I have endless fun to throw things at. I pay for carbon. I pay for tie. It's like, I don't get this stuff for free, and it makes that big of a difference. That it was worth my experience. It makes my experience that much better on the snow, and so I can justify it to me of spending the extra money. But the lightweight stuff is it's funny. We need to get Dan Adams on here, because Dan Dan, I got him. He's hooked. He got the lightweight disease as well, and it's cool. I was actually on the phone with him last night, and he's talking to me about his builds. Well, yeah, I'm going carbon everything, all this stuff. And what's funny is, 2 years ago, Dan built one of the gnarliest sleds on the planet as far as like how it could go. The sled he called Danable. Yeah, Danable Lecter, maybe.
Danable
but
Lecter.
yeah, I remember his, he built a 174, like all the skin stuff, turbo. I mean, this thing was unreal. But after he rode his lightweight sled, he's like, well, I mean, Danable has its place for sure, but the type of riding I like to do, I'm going this way. And so it's kind of cool to see and hear that transformation.
Yeah. Once we, oh my gosh, once I get the deck and the podcast is ready to go, Dan's our first call-in guest. Maybe we'll get him on here
for sure,
right before you guys leave for Chile, because Dan's going down there, so that'll be good.
Yeah, that'll be really good. And so I guess I got a couple things to wrap up here. Sled build wise. So I am going to do a little different this year. One thing, we got everybody all hot to trot and excited on the cut tunnel deal, and the cut tunnel is 100% legit. I mean, it goes through the snow better. It re-entry is easier. It doesn't get hung up when you're side hilling. I mean, there are some big advantage to it, which is really cool. And the big disadvantage, well, there's two of them. One is it's pretty labor intensive. Two is the cooling factor of it. It's pretty tricky to keep the sled running at the temperature that it should be running for optimal power when you're riding in subpar snow. When you're riding in regular snow, it's fine. But so I'm going to try to put a front cooler in my snowmobile. I would like to think that with the right front cooler in there, I'm hoping I can eliminate the tunnel cooling. But that's something I'm going to have to play with. So I'm going to go that route, which is going to be a lot of modification and time and effort, of course, right? That goes in. And then do the 900. I'm kind of on the fence whether I'm going to do twins on the 900 or just, again, kind of staying with the lightweight. The twins are 4 pounds lighter than a stock exhaust, but I'm almost, let's see here, 11 pounds lighter if you're just doing the silencer and then run the stock single pipe. So a couple things to weigh out there. I definitely will have a sled with the SLP twins on it next year. For sure. I was happy with the way they ran when SLP came down here. When did they come down here? About a month ago now. Yeah. So those lots of building, lots of parts, lots of time. And but I'm excited. The thing I'm most nervous about is every year, how do you pick out the right color combo? How do you choose the right name? I mean, it's getting super difficult.
It is, yeah. I got my colors figured out in my head, so I mean, I'm content there.
So what are they, Ross?
No, I'm gonna text them to you because I don't want anybody else stealing my stuff.
I'm gonna steal it because I'm out of ideas.
I know. I don't want to tell you because you always end up with my sleds looking like mine or vice versa, and then everybody thinks I copied you, but really I'm the design guy over here.
Yeah. Well, I mean Dr. Evil last year, that was my coolest looking sled. That pearl, white and purple. Man, that thing was awesome. And then Skins hooked everything up with powder coating. It was a piece of it was awesome. It was piece of artwork.
Yeah.
I messed that up. And then Slim, Slim, like I went for I didn't know, but I ended up riding that sled a lot, and a lot of black to hide tree scratches because that sled was just it was in the trenches every day. And
Yeah.
I loved that sled. As far as just a fun sled to ride, like an everydayer, I think that's been my best one. Even better than Jenny Craig, which a lot of people find that hard to believe. But well,
Yeah.
it'll that time is approaching. Sled build stuff. I know, I've been planning it out in my head what I'm going to be doing, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah. No, it's an exciting fall every year to figure out what we want to do and build it, it's like building the hype, and then to actually go ride it is the best part. So it's
Yeah,
exciting.
it really is. So, well, let's wrap up this podcast. This one, we're all over the board. Not really an agenda or a topic.
No.
But man, a lot of fun. It's cool to talk about. Just, riding March conditions in June. It doesn't get any better than that. And then kind of sharing with you guys some of my all-time sleds that really made a big difference in the way I look at snowmobiling and the way I ride today. And so that was kind of fun. And then dipping into the future a little bit on the electric stuff. It'll be cool to see where that goes. And then talking about what we're going to get to do this year.
Yeah. So, yeah, a little bit of everything this week. And so we appreciate you guys listening. Be sure to subscribe. There's still 29% of you guys that aren't subscribed if you're listening. So that just allows you to get notifications that, hey, we posted a new podcast. And because of our hectic schedule, sometimes we're not very regular. So if you subscribe, then you know that some late and great podcast is up, and you can listen to it. But we appreciate you guys listening, and I guess I'll see you next time. Chris?
Yeah, make sure you guys leave us comments and love just picking the questions and comments that you guys post. We love using those as topics, of course, right? I mean, this podcast isn't for me to hear Ross talk. It's for us to provide you with information and entertainment. And so anything that we can touch on that would help you in your pursuit of loving this awesome sport even more, we're here for you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. And we'll see you next time.
All right. Peace out.